Welcome to the first episode of the Choose Violence podcast, a podcast for feminine rage. I'm your host, Ishpal, and I'm fucking furious. America hates women, and I'm finally going to give them a fucking reason to. I woke up to the election results this morning, and unlike 2016, where the world was quiet and I was crying into my boyfriend's arms, when I woke up this morning, I was not despondent. I was not in despair. I was not depressed. I was fucking furious. I was absolutely fucking furious. And I'm like, I'm not taking this lying down. And yeah, starting a podcast, not that fucking revolutionary. However, there needs to be someone yelling from the fucking rooftops about this. And I am not going to stay quiet. And it's like, if like America hates women this much, because don't get it twisted. This is not about people supporting Donald Trump and being racist, which is certainly a component. It is America's fundamental hatred of women. And if they hate us this much, I'm going to give them a fucking reason to. And I hope you all do. So welcome to Choose Violence, where we're done taking the moral high ground. We are done being polite. We're done being sweet. We're done catering to men. We are done giving a fuck about literally anything because they don't give a fuck about you. It is time to fucking reckon with what the fuck is going on in this country. And I'm so pissed off at men for just literally everything. If you're listening to this podcast, if you saw the name and you were like, bitch, bet I'm on board, you already get it. You fucking literally get it. I feel so naive and so dumb. Like, we're just going to get into it. I feel so naive and so dumb about what happened because I knew men were pieces of shit. I didn't think they were this bad, that they feel like single issue voting is more important than, like, I don't know, the safety of all women. Like, I know people don't care about minorities. They know they don't care about the poor. I know that they do not care about education or anyone's well-being. But the fact that, like, stupid idiot men are more concerned about tax cuts and what they think is going to lead to more profitability for them is more important than the safety of all women is so fucking mind-boggling. Like, and it's like, you dumb. You literal fucking dumb. Do you think these tax cuts are going to be for you? Like, small business owners? Like, I'm sorry, honey. Do you think that's for you? The fact that they think this bitch is going to give them tax cuts, I'm like, no. He wants to keep you all stupid and poor and sick and busy and or disenfranchised. The fact that people are going to take this perceived economic benefit, which they're not going to get, over like the safety and well-being of literally all women, fuck them. Let them rot in the streets. I'm done. I am over it. I am done. Also, the number of women who voted for Trump, like, why do you hate other women? Am I dumb? And like, this is where I feel the most naive. It's like not just about men. It's just, I thought Barbie healed us. I thought the era of Taylor Swift healed our femininity as a collective. And I really fucking thought women had stopped hating women. And clearly fucking not. It's because I had a lot of issues with my internal femininity. Was mostly afraid of other women, quite honestly, because of like the way men who controlled all the media painted the picture of women hating other women and being intimidating and exclusive and whatever. So I didn't have close female friendships because I just thought they would reject me. And yeah, I had some resentment towards other women because they were better at being feminine than I was. And they would get the boys and they were pretty. I didn't know how to flirt and I didn't know what I was doing. And I thought I was ugly because I wasn't a skinny white blonde girl in 2006. And like big butts weren't cool yet. Neither was brown skin, which we hate Kim Kardashian for that. But like, she's the only reason anyone finds me attractive. I digress. I had a lot of issues with my femininity. And then my nieces loved Taylor Swift. And I was like, I was a mad hater. And I was like, oh, I hate her because she represents everything that I wish I could be. And before I used to see her as like, she gets all the hot guys, what's so special about her? But I'm like, no, she was 19 and taken advantage of and treated like shit by every older man in Hollywood. And then instead of letting it break her, she built a career on it. Like, fuck you for hating Taylor Swift, Ishpal. What were you thinking? But I didn't know. Like, I wasn't. And then I saw Barbie and I was like, oh. And like, now I'm a girl. And I love pink again. Like, they say a sign of a woman healing her femininity is that she loves pink again. The fact that so many women still hate other women is so beyond me. Like the number, like all of my mom's friends apparently voted for Trump, like her female friends, and they have daughters. And I'm like, do you think your daughter is immune to being raped or having a miscarriage or like pregnancy complications or like wanting IVF because she's your daughter? Are you that? Or do you just hate your daughters because they have more freedoms than you grew up with and you want them to suffer too? Or you're like, oh, I suffered under that kind of tyranny in India, so you can too and you'll be fine. Like, I don't understand. Or like they are culturally not allowed to get divorced, so they don't want their daughters to have the right either. I don't get it. I don't understand. Not how we got to this place, because I guess how we got back to this place. I thought we had like somehow moved past this. I thought the girly pops were coming together. I thought we were decentering men and hating men and like loving each other and being like, you know, when a guy says a girl's crazy, instead of being like, oh my God, I'll never be like her, we're like, what did you do to her? Literally, I went from like a guy could gaslight me into putting up with all of his bullshit by telling me his ex was crazy and saying all the bad shit she did and triangulating me. And then I would be like, oh, I'll never be like her. And would just let him get away with all of his bad behavior because I didn't want to be like her. And I wanted to like love him in a way that she couldn't. And now I'm like, what did you do? What did you do that this super cool girl that you originally like loved went insane and ruined your life? What did you do? It didn't happen out of nowhere. Girls aren't like boys where we just start treating people like shit for absolutely no reason. Like, what did you do? What did you do? Or was she just that crazy when you guys got together? And what's wrong with you that you enjoyed that and then suddenly got sick of it and then treated her like shit? Still, it always comes down. Anyways, like my cousin, my cousins. Oh my God, I like can't even talk about the fact that like my cousins voted for Trump. Never did I think that would be a reality, literally. But they're all Gen Z boys. And for whatever reason, Gen Z boys are like very pro-Trump. And I do not get it, perhaps because they're the most uneducated generation of men we've had in many generations. I don't know. We were talking and he was saying about how his girlfriend voted for Trump. And it's not that she likes Trump. Like he was saying, if it had been Biden, she would have voted for Biden, but she just doesn't like Kamala. And I'm like, how on earth can you dislike Kamala based on nothing? She's so fucking qualified. Like, yeah, I disagree with some of her policy shit, but like, how do you disagree with her and dislike her more than you hate Trump? Like, how do you hate her enough that you are willing to sacrifice our democracy based on what? Based on literally what? Like, there wasn't even any sort of slander against her in this campaign. There was no mud to be slung. Like, Donald Trump literally is Donald Trump. But like, I don't understand. Like, grabbing women by the pussy is a convicted felon. Like, started an insurrection. Literally tried to disrupt the peaceful transfer of power, which is a cornerstone of our democracy, of our constitution, of what our country was fucking founded upon. And these motherfuckers still voted him into office. Kamala Harris has literally done nothing wrong. Yes, she supports Israel, but do you think anyone in our government doesn't? If you're not familiar with AIPAC and the hold they have on our government, like read a book. I'm so sorry. And I don't mean to talk to the girly pops like this because it's just like to the gender traders out there, I don't get you. I don't. And I can hate all men right now, but I'm struggling with my hatred of other women right now because that brings us back to the root of the problem of like women being pit against each other. And I don't want to hate these women who voted for Trump because people go towards where the love is and we're only going to drive them further away. And I don't want to hate other women, but I'm so torn right now because I don't know what the fuck to do. I do not know what the fuck to do other than be pissed off. Anyway, so that's my initial rant. For context, a little bit about me. My name is Ishpaul. You can call me Ish. I love you already just for being here because fuck everything and fuck everyone except you guys. I used to be a lawyer. Fuck that bullshit. So glad I quit that job and got sober before this shit because Lord knows I'd be like literally nothing fucking matters and I would be so drunk and high right now you wouldn't even believe it and I would literally quit my job because fuck everything. TBH, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know my TikTok series, Revenge Ideas from a Lawyer That Won't Get You Arrested Probably. at What They Ish on TikTok. Check it out. I especially feel like in this day and age that began this morning, women might get a lot of joy out of fantasizing about all of these revenge ideas that I came up with initially for ex-boyfriends. But now I'm like, any Republican man. And the revenge series was, I think, getting a little bit stale. I'm not going to lie to you because I'm like healing from my abusive ex-boyfriend. However, boy, is it coming back with a vengeance because I am cooking up ideas the way I want to vandalize my ex-boyfriend's house right now because I know he voted for Trump and I know he was so fucking happy last night and he was drinking and like with his buddies and I can just picture him and I want to light his house on fire. The level of vandalism I want to commit at this moment is not enough. Truly, the amount of violence I want to enact on that man for being so happy at this moment is sick. It is genuinely upsetting and I'm here for it. And I'm going to do some stuff that I'm really going to regret. I might go to jail. This might be the only episode of this podcast. I could fully go to prison for the shit I'm about to unleash right now. My therapist is going to be furious because I've made a lot of progress, but we're backsliding this week, guys. We are letting it rip because I'm fucking done. Like, this the idea of the smug look on that man's face and how much joy and like condescension he feels today makes me want to get violent. Like, so like bloody and gory. Like, vandalism is not enough. Like, there needs to be arson. There needs to be poverty involved. I used to fantasize because I used to be a lawyer. I used to fantasize about suing him into poverty. Just like, you know, any fucking legal claims I could make up and just torment him through the legal system and make him poor with legal fees. And now I might do it. Before it was like, oh, I have a lawyer job. I've got things to do. Now I'm just doing TikTok and like creative projects full time. I've got the fucking time. I'm like, let's sue this bastard until he's so poor he's homeless. And then he'll see how much Trump cares about him. When you're poor, let's see how much Trump cares about you, huh? I mean, you're still a white man, so probably a lot, but you're going to need those social services, bitch. Fuck you. God damn it. I'm like, I've exhausted myself. I need some coffee. Hold on. Okay. We've regrouped. I'm exhausted from my own anger. Maybe this is good. Maybe I'll just tucker myself out and like take a long nap for the rest of my life. Maybe that's what'll happen. Oh my God, you guys. Okay. So another thing, we're getting our second wind. Hold on. We need to vape a little bit more. Is this going to get me kicked off YouTube? Also, another thing I'm pissed off about, vapes having these weird bro-y screens on them. So extra. Vaping's already embarrassing enough. Don't bring attention to it. You know what I mean? I feel like a boy made this decision. Like every other stupid fucking thing in America. Some dumb boy's idea. Like, why do they hate women so much? We gave you life. We gave you birth. We have sex with you. We give you blowjobs. We make your food. We probably do your laundry and make your bed. Why do you hate us so fucking much? I don't get it. Is it the whole thing of like white Republicans? Is that what men have of like, they're scared if we get power, we'll treat them as badly as they treated us? Which I was always against. I was like, no, we would never do that. Now I might just become a benevolent dictator. And oh, this is a fun idea I had for a book, maybe a series, maybe reality. That I think you'll maybe get a kick out of. It's like a dystopian / utopian future, depending on what side you're on, where it's just an all-female collective. God, I'm exhausted from anger. Oh, wow. Any of that, does that ever happen to you guys? Oh my God. I'm just wiped. I'm just absolutely wiped. This is not going to be a long podcast episode because who knows how much fucking energy I have? Who knows how much fucking energy you have? Today's an exhausting day. Today's a hard, fucking exhausting day. But when I'm benevolent dictator, benevolent based on my definition, we're going to create an all-female collective, okay? It's going to be warrior women giving ancient Amazonians, right, or whatever that lore is. But also we frolic. Also we pick berries. Also we yap and we tan and we vibe. But also are violent as fuck. And we have all of the men in a separate colony where they live amongst themselves. They do all the grunt work we don't want to do. They make skincare products all day long and develop makeup all day long. And in their free time, they train to be good men. They read literature. They read feminist literature. They are trained in how the female body works and the reproductive system. And they are taught how to be good men, right? And their incentive to do so is they are not allowed to fuck the whole time they're in there unless they fuck each other, which they probably fucking will, let's be honest. But then maybe they'll like, you know, be like good gays. And they're being trained in these classes by women and like the men who have won the big competition. The big competition that they're training for all year is like they throw it out in a gauntlet where it's a series of trials to find out who is the best man, right? And the top 3 people are the ones that the women will choose to breed with for the next year. So the guys will basically compete to be studs for the girls who want to have kids, right? And then those 3 men who win get to like live in the utopia of women for a year, right? And like we'd have to do some sort of tagging of the men, probably branding, honestly, to make sure there's not like, incest stuff going on by accident, like accidentally, mixing genes the wrong way. Whatever, we'll figure that part out. Women are smart. I'm sure we'll develop a system. And the men who try to rebel are immediately killed. They don't get a second try. They don't get a trial. They're just immediately killed. Killed or castrated, I can't really decide. Probably just killed because we don't need them a chance to like develop a rebellion, I think it's a really fun idea because men should realize that mating with women is a privilege. And even if men have like the whole drive of like they want to reproduce, so they will want to win. So we will train them to be good men and eventually they'll forget how bad they were. Fingers crossed. Who's to say? And also it's the only way they get to fuck a lady. And the women who will be judging the competition every year will be the women who want to reproduce. So they have like an incentive of like, are these the men that I want to have kids with, right? So it won't just be the hottest, strongest men. It will be the intelligent ones, the well-spoken ones, the ones with emotional intelligence. The trial should be like, listen to a woman talk about her problems. Can you emotionally support her? And then afterwards you take a quiz. What was all the stuff she talked about and how did she feel about it? And if you can deduce all that, you get to move on to the next round of the competition. I think it's a vibe. Anyways, it's like castrate all men. Like I'm never going to reproduce. Just like out of protest. I would be a great mom, but we're just not doing it. Okay, other things. Oh, so that's another thing. Leading up to this election, I was like so concerned about people being uneducated and voting against their interests. And I'm like, all of these bad things are going to happen. Like the fact that the Latino vote was so wildly for Trump. I'm like, you guys, what are you doing? And my dad was talking about like, all these people voting for Trump. When shit goes wrong, like I'm going to laugh in their face basically. And I was like, Dad, we don't do that. We have the moral high ground. It's not their fault that they're uneducated or misguided or misled. They're not all bad people. They're just getting bad information. We're not even going to say they're not that bright. They're getting bad information, right? And now I'm like, after the California proposition results, I'm like, oh, maybe these people deserve what they fucking get. On the California ballot was ending slavery in prisons. Because in the California Constitution and the United States Constitution, slavery is outlawed unless it's punishment for a crime. And California was like, Trump's coming. Let's codify in our state constitution that there can't be involuntary servitude in prisons so that Trump can't just arrest everyone and make everyone slaves. And people in California were like, no, we like slavery. Like I posted on TikTok like a California voting guide. And I was like, yeah, I think we should end slavery in prisons. And people were like, then what's their contribution to society? They're like, we're paying our taxes to house them and feed them for free. What are they supposed to be doing when they're in there? And I'm like, I don't know, like programs, like learn vocational skills, like read, get an education, learn how to be productive members of society when they get out. And they were like, oh, you mean the education they never got in the first place? And I'm like, literally, yes. Literally, yes. The lack of education that led them to crime. Yeah, let's remediate that. And people are like, no. If our tax dollars are going to housing and feeding them, which is so much money, then they might as well keep the cost of goods down by using slave labor in prisons. And then at the same time, there was Prop 36, which basically made petty theft less than $950, and drug possession a felony on your third try, which is like crazy to me because people are like, oh, it's going to stop the smash and grabs, which I'm sorry, like stealing from corporate America is always a vibe. But people are like, it's so scary. If you work in retail, it's so scary when people come in, smash and grab, you can't do anything about it. I'm like, I'm sorry. Do you think Ulta or Target gives a fuck if you live or die? Yeah. Watch the store get fucking looted and then don't do anything. It would be scary if you had to protect the merchandise when they're looting. Why do you care if Nordstrom Rack gets raided? If you just sit back and just let it happen. I don't understand. And it's also like people think that somehow the smash and grabs will stop if now petty theft is a felony. But I'm like, you do realize if a smash and grab is going well, they're stealing more than $950 worth of stuff, right? You do realize that? So that's already been a felony and already cops aren't enforcing it. So now it's just petty theft, like poor people shoplifting for food, which is about to get really fucking expensive, especially if you kick out all the migrants. Because then there's going to be a food shortage and then tariffs and everything's going to be expensive. So people are going to be shoplifting school clothes for their kids because they can't afford them because kids grow so fucking fast. Like, are you dumb? And so so they're already not going after the smash and grabs because those people are too hard to catch. And also, theft under $950 is still punishable. It's a misdemeanor. That doesn't mean it's a ticket. It means it's punishable by up to a year in jail. And now they're saying it's going to be 3 years in state prison. So you do realize that's just going to take poor people, put them in prison where they will do slave labor. And then when they get out of prison, they will be felons who can't vote. You do realize that, right? Like, you're just disenfranchising poor people and making them do slave labor. Like, and this also is going to criminalize homelessness because just walk down Skid Row, everyone's on drugs. You arrest people on Skid Row 3 times, then you put them all in prison, make sure they can never vote again, and commit them to doing slave labor. And the fact that people don't see how this is all tied together is fucking crazy to me. Like, and if the cops weren't stopping smash and grabs, which were a felony already, why are they suddenly going to do that? And I don't know. They're going to grab shoplifters because shoplifters are way easier to catch and then just put them in prison. Like, I'm sorry, if I steal drunk elephant overpriced skincare from Sephora 1 too many times, should that be a felony? I don't understand. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's looting the federal government and is a felon, and they're like, yeah, make that bitch president. What? And they're like, crime has to be stopped. And I'm like, the guy you voted for is a felon. I literally don't understand. He literally couldn't even vote for himself if he wanted to. And I'm just like, you passed Prop 36, we're criminalizing homelessness and being poor. Like, and also, like, let's say that wasn't the case and we just want that stuff to be a felony to stop people from doing theft or, which again, stealing from corporations, like, fucking do it. They build that into their profit margin, okay? They have like an entire department for that. Also, like, corporate greed, like, fucking, Jesus, we should all just steal everything. Anyways, like, let's say that wasn't an issue. Like, let's just say let's say smash and grabs were less than $950, which they're not. And let's say them being a felony, like, would incentivize cops to pursue them. I'm sorry, why are we taking away people's freedom for years and their right to vote to incentivize DAs and cops to do their fucking jobs so they feel like these crimes are worth their time? I'm sorry, what? Instead of being like, no, you guys need to do your jobs or we're going to like cut your salaries by $1 million, or being like, okay, we will have some sort of quota system where if you catch X many shoplifters or smash and grabs, you get a bonus of like $10,000. Instead of doing that, they're like, oh, no, we're just going to like make their jobs even easier and just send more people to prison, which is like, if you're pissed off that your taxes are paying to house and feed these people, what do you think is going to happen when you're sending thousands of people to state prison for felonies where they're going to be there for 3 years? And there's already prison overcrowding. So, like, who do you think is going to get released to make room for these people? Probably violent offenders, honestly. Like, these are non-violent crimes that we are now punishing as felonies. That's going to contribute to prison overcrowding. It's going to contribute to, like, and also, like, Republicans win when less people vote. Republicans win when less poor people vote. So they're going to be taking the right to vote away from a ton of people and a ton of poor people so they can continue to do whatever the fuck they want with our government for the rest of forever. And, like, don't even get me started on Prop 34, which, if you're not familiar, I can't even get into it. People are so stupid. It's just mind-boggling. And and they're just like, because of their stupidity, they're gambling with people's freedom, bodily autonomy, health, well-being, access to medical care, access to food, access like to vote, like everything. They're gambling with all of that for the very slim, non-realistic chance, statistically insignificant chance that they're somehow going to make more money under Trump. And I'm like, do you think those fucking tax cuts are for you, bitch? Do you think those tax cuts are for you? First of all, bitch, you make $90,000 a year and think that's a lot of money. No offense. In the grand scheme of things, like they now say that they used to say the happiness index was $80,000. Like if you make $80,000 a year, like you can pay for everything you need and your happiness increases as you make more money up to $80,000. And then because you can afford whatever you need, it doesn't improve anymore, right? The happiness index they updated, I think last year, it is now $500,000. So your happiness will increase up until you reach $500,000 because that's how much it costs to be able to like live comfortably and lavishly. That's insane. Okay. So that's why I'm saying $90,000 is not a lot of money because like consumer price index, etc. $90,000 is a lot of money. Right now I make $1,200 a month and I live with my parents. Okay. I'm not trying to like be fancy here. $1,800 on a good month. Pre-taxes. Okay. So I'm not like trying to say I'm better than anybody. I'm just very lucky in that I can live with my parents and my mom doesn't charge me rent. Anyways, very lucky to have that after a huge mental health crisis. Anyways, these bitches who are like voting for Trump are poor or barely middle class. Do you think you, with your $90,000 you're making a year, are going to benefit from any of Trump's tax cuts? Do you think with your lack of intelligence and lack of access to financial planners, which are expensive, and tax experts, do you think you are smart enough to take advantage of the tax loopholes Trump will inevitably put in? Like, rich white people know all the secrets of how to hoard their money, and they only share it with other rich white people and people who like marry into their families. Do you think you are going to know how to manipulate the system the way a rich white person would in order to take advantage of the Trump tax loopholes that are coming? No, you're stupid. You're dumb. And you don't make enough money to even qualify. So what are you doing? And they're not going to, if they get rid of the Affordable Care Act, they're not reducing your taxes because your taxes pay their salaries. So your taxes aren't going down, not significantly, and especially not for anyone making less than $250,000. If you make less than $250,000, you have no business thinking Trump is going to help you make more money. Do you know what a tariff is? It's only going to make the cost of goods higher. Like people think Trump's going to make things cheaper because he says it. He's a criminal. And not like any criminal. He's been convicted for fraud, lying to people. He builds buildings. I mean, you guys already know this. I'm just venting. I'm yelling. He builds these huge buildings and then doesn't pay any of the laborers or the construction companies and then just splits. When he went to New Mexico to hold a rally, they made him in Albuquerque, they made him hold the rally on the tarmac because they're like, bitch, we're not letting you in. You owe the city of Albuquerque $250,000. Write us a check or go fuck yourself. And he was like, I will just go fuck myself. And people still voted for him. I'm like, he's a crook. He is literally a crook. He is literally, and then it's crazy to me that like so many people during the pandemic were like, QAnon, save the children, everyone in Hollywood and everyone in the government's a pedophile. Donald Trump was like BFFs with Jeffrey Epstein. Are you crazy? And it's just like, at the end of the day, the logic just doesn't shake out to the point where you know it comes down to the fact that they hate women. That's it. Because like Donald Trump didn't win the election against Hillary Clinton because people like Donald Trump. It's because they hated Hillary Clinton, right? And I thought that was just a Clinton issue because we all hated her. Let's be honest. She was a bitch. And like they made the excuse of like, she's the institutional candidate, Blackwater, etc. They just hated Hillary Clinton and they wanted to justify that. And they didn't want to say she seems like a crone ass bitch. Then we had Biden, who was a husk of a man, who was known for nothing more than being the meme at Obama's side. America's dorky grandpa. He was old. He was decrepit. He was a waste of space. But we And it was the whole lesser of two evils argument. And we rallied behind Biden, even though no one wanted Biden as president. None of us wanted Biden as president, but we were like better than Trump again. And then we had Kamala Harris, who was a DA, who was California State Attorney General, who was a senator, and who was vice president of the United States. And people are saying, oh, she's unproven. She's unqualified. And I'm like, literally, what position of power else could she have held to make her more qualified than Donald Trump, who's a fake billionaire who wouldn't release his taxes, who started an insurrection and had no political experience before he ran our country into the ground the last time he was president. And it has nothing to do with the fact that people are like, oh, Kamala supports Israel. Like Donald Trump doesn't. Donald Trump literally is on record calling Netanyahu, being like, hey, don't make a ceasefire or any sort of treaty like to get the hostages back because it's going to look bad for me politically if that happens under the Biden administration. Like, do you think he gives a fuck about Palestinians? No. And he openly wants to strip rights away from everyone and dismantle the Department of Education. But people are like, oh, but Kamala's policy. What about Trump's policies? Do you think Kamala's are any worse? Kamala's policies are the same as Biden's policies. They're the same. And I don't hear anyone bitching about Biden. And maybe you do bitch about Biden's policies, but do you think they're worse than Trump's? No, it's because you guys hate women. You literally fucking hate all women. And just say that. Like, at this point, just say the quiet part out loud. You hate women. That's it. That's the whole thing. Like, Donald Trump didn't win because people like him necessarily. He won because he ran against two women, and America hates women. Like, literally, I remember the day that they announced that Kamala was going to be the new candidate when Biden dropped out. And my first thought was, oh, we're fucked. America hates women. And then people really rallied behind her. And then I was like, okay, cool, bet. But then they really fucked up their campaign in a lot of ways. They played too hard to the middle. They really slacked on their social media game. The memes dropped off. The excitement dropped off. The fundraising dropped off. And they did too much in the beginning, and then they let the steam run out, versus Donald Trump did nothing in the beginning and then really rallied at the end. And then there's like primacy and recency, blah, blah, blah. So there is that element. But it's just like people like fundamentally, I don't think Donald Trump won because people like Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump won because people hate women. And he ran 3 times, twice against women and 1 against women. Because America hates women. Like, I just don't know anything else to say other than that America hates women. And I'm so fucking pissed off about it. And yes, this hour or however long this podcast is right now, I feel like with editing, it'll be like 30 minutes, which is plenty. It was just me venting. And I don't know what this podcast is going to turn into, but Lord knows I have enough rage to fuel it for forever. And for those of you listening from the TikTok series, Revenge Ideas from Laura that won't get you arrested probably, there will be revenge ideas discussed on this. One's targeted at Republicans. We will figure it out. We will get violent. We will get angry. And we will talk about everything. And with that, I'm going to take a vape break because I'm tired. And I'm going to have some coffee. And we'll see if I come back. God, the way I want to relapse right now is so wild. Just had my vape break and my coffee break. Didn't do much. Tried to watch some TikTok. And I'm just still like devastated in an angry way. But still, I'm just like, I'm not going to relapse on booze. But I'm just like, I just want Adderall so badly. I just like want to fucking dissociate and just be full of rage. Like just amphetamine fueled rage right now. That's where I'm at. Anyways, important announcements. Stock up on your birth control, get your IUDs in, which are also so bad for us, but they're our only option. Stock up on Plan B for you and your friends. Stock up on the abortion pill while it's still available. Even if you don't need it, your friends are going to need it. I like just don't even know what else to say. But I will say, amongst all this rage, amongst all this chaos, which is justified, let yourself be pissed off, but also let yourself rest. Take the time to rest. Take the time to breathe. Take the day off. Do what you got to do to take care of yourself. Because today's a hard day. It's going to be a hard week. It's going to be a hard couple years. So we can't fight if we're tired. We can't fight if we're crying. And we can't fight if we're suppressing our feelings because they will lash out in weird ways. Take the day, rest, recoup, Take care of yourself. Have some wine. Take a Xanax. I don't know. Probably not those things. Probably don't do those things. Those are probably not good things. Read a book. Do not doom scroll TikTok. Get a tarot reading. Get a massage. Do a face mask. Do something that's going to be restorative for you today, because we have a long road ahead of us. And we will get to the other side of this. You know what I mean? Because, like, if you think about it, like, the civil rights movement didn't happen because we had a progressive president, right? Like, things have to get really fucking bad sometimes before they get good. People have to get really uncomfortable. People maybe have to see how awful Trump is for themselves to, like, wake up, you know? I saw a TikTok that was, like, made a valid point of, like, a lot of people got into politics because of Trump. So this is, like, all they know. So maybe they need to see that they've been lied to. Maybe they need to wake up. Maybe something bad needs to happen. And when that happens, we, the smart ones, the aware ones, the informed ones, we need to be well rested and ready to go to step in to lead whatever movement's coming, because something's coming. Something big is coming. And we're going to need to be well rested and recharged in order to deal with that. And we're going to need to be pissed off and angry and not give a fuck. We're going to need to be all those things, just like the women during the civil rights movement. You know what I mean? Rosa Parks energy, not giving a fuck, but well rested, you know, because she was sitting. Get it? It's not a good joke, but that's okay. And then, like, don't be worried about other people. If people voted against their own interests, maybe they need it. Maybe, they need to stop being so naive and learn. I don't know. I am, like, trying to trust in God's plan because it's all I've got. And I'm just like, maybe this is what's supposed to happen. They say there are no mistakes in God's universe. And if you are not a God girly, I apologize. It's just truly all I have hold on to. I'm not Christian or anything. Just spiritual, Sikh, whatever. It doesn't matter. I hate that the right has made religion such a fucking dirty word and God such a dirty word, because it makes me seem like a psycho whenever I bring it up. And I apologize for that. But I am a God girly. Sometimes a universe girly when I'm pissed off at God. But I do believe in something. Anyways, maybe this is part of the universe's plan, if that's language that you're more open to. But I don't know. Clearly, the United States does not want progress. It does not want to thrive. Not really. Or it doesn't know how. And maybe this is its time to learn. But I don't know. Part of me, I don't want to, like, lean into this part of me. But part of me is like, maybe they deserve what they fucking get. Because, like, I'll be okay. You know what I mean? Like, I've been through worse things. I was addicted to whippets during the pandemic, during a Trump presidency, okay? I've been through worse, and I was fully in the middle of a psychotic break, okay? This is not the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I'll be fine. I'm a fighter. My nieces, I will sacrifice my life if that's what it comes to. It won't, but if it did, I will make sure that they're okay. You know what I mean? My dad didn't vote for Trump, thank God, neither did my mom. I will be okay. And so maybe these people just need to sit in their shit for a little bit longer until they get sick of it. I don't know. All I know is I'm going to try to rest. And I'm going to try to mobilize and all the things, but we need to be real. We need to be realistic and well rested because shit's happening. And I used to really worry about the people voting against their own interests, but I'm like, maybe you fucking deserve it. Like, you guys don't want America to win. You don't. The fact that Californians who are supposedly so liberal and progressive voted to keep slavery in our Constitution, I'm like, maybe you deserve what you fucking get. Maybe whatever bad shit's about to happen is, like, what you deserve. I don't know. But, like, they asked for it. I don't know. I mean, and the thing is, it's like, at the end of the day, we do have to reckon with the fact that, like, half of the country, plus a slim margin, voted for Trump. I mean, they don't either respect our democracy, they don't appreciate it, they're not grateful for it. The fucking women who voted for Trump, I'm like, do you have any idea how many women died so you can have the rights that you do, so you don't have to stay married to your husband when he beats the shit out of you, that you can, like, have a credit card, that you can own a house, that you can fly on a fucking plane by yourself? Like, and I just these fucking ungrateful bitches. And, like, maybe they just need to lose some shit to get it together. I don't fucking know. And it sucks that it has to come at the sacrifice of so many people who don't deserve it. Maybe it's for the greater good. I don't know. I don't understand that logic, but can't claim to understand God, can't claim to understand the universe, can't claim to understand higher powers that are bigger than me, but I have to trust that there's some sort of fucking plan. But also, humanity has been devastation and chaos for literally forever, or for like the last 2,000 years. So maybe this is the way of the world. I don't fucking know. All I know is progress doesn't happen when people are comfortable. Maybe shit has to get really bad for us to get it together and like fight back and like codify these rights. I don't know. Maybe we need to burn it all down. Maybe we need to burn the whole fucking system to the ground. Maybe peaceful protest is not it anymore. Maybe we need to take a play from the Republicans' playbook and just start like rioting. This is a fun thing that I thought about that I don't think is going to happen, but it would be fun if it did. Like technically, like, yeah, like there was that Supreme Court decision that was like, oh, basically presidents have immunity from everything that they do while they're president, which theoretically means, I mean, that applies to Biden too, not just Trump. We think about it in terms of Trump, but I'm like, if Trump wins and Biden wanted to, like if Trump actually won, which is a reality I am not willing to accept yet, if he wanted to, he could just be like, no, I'm not giving it to you. He could just deploy the army and kill Trump and JD Vance and be like, no, I'm not giving it to you. I'm going to give it to Kamala Harris. He could, and he would not get in trouble. He literally wouldn't. And he's the commander in chief, so the army like has to listen. So like he could easily just be like, no, Trump, you don't get to be president. If he wanted to. By executive order, he could just be like, no, Kamala Harris is president. Fuck you. Kill Donald Trump. He could, and he literally wouldn't go to jail. And I love the idea of that happening in like this universe. It would be the end of our debate. But who cares? Literally, who cares? I don't know. That's a fun fantasy that's like keeping me alive right now. There's still time. Until January 20th or 21st, whatever the fuck. There's still time for Biden to be like, no, you don't get to be president. Sorry, DT. Fuck you. Very possible. This bitch does not deserve to be president. But maybe he's the president that people deserve. I don't know. To all the dumb fucks who didn't vote, who are like, I'm just choosing between the lesser of two evils. The fucking last time that happened, you did vote for the lesser of two evils. So you just hate women. And if you don't, you're just a dumb, selfish fuck because you couldn't see the threat that Donald Trump was and say, you know what? I'm going to set aside my politics and the fact that I'm pissed off and our system is fucked and I'm just going to protect women and not make Donald Trump president because it's quite literally the least I can do. And it takes no effort. And so for you, those of you who didn't vote because you felt like it was a political stance, the stance that you took, the stance that we're all reading is that you don't care about women and that you're a selfish asshole and you're short-sighted and dumb. And those people do deserve what they get. So sorry. Also, the fact that only 9 million people in California voted for the propositions is fucking wild to me. Like, read a book. Like, it's not hard to just Google a California voter guide. It's literally not hard. People are so fucking lazy. And so maybe they need to be pissed off and wrecked to give enough of a fuck to fucking read shit and vote and like give a fuck. I don't know. Maybe things have been too easy. Maybe we're too spoiled from the Obama years. I don't know. Maybe shit didn't get bad enough during the first Trump presidency. Maybe we got complacent during Biden. I don't know. Part of me is like, I wish Trump had just won against Biden so we would be done because the term limits, but I don't think the country would have survived it, honestly. But like, maybe shit just needs to get really horrible before people get it together. In which case, again, you and I need to be well rested when the revolution comes. Because Lord knows these dumb fucks aren't smart enough to lead it. Anyways, that's the episode for today. That's the podcast. Thank you for joining me. I hope that this was somewhat cathartic for you. I know it was cathartic for me. I'm going to take a nap. I'm exhausted. I will be back next week. What day is today? Wednesday? Maybe this will just be a Wednesday podcast. Probably Thursdays. Probably expect these to drop on Thursdays. Because Thursdays feel like the right day. I don't know. So I'll see you back here next Thursday. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. Drink some water. Wear your sunscreen. Get a little violent. Smack your husband. Burn something to the ground. Light a match and throw it at your ex-boyfriend's house. Whatever the fuck feels good to you right now. Because here's the thing. If they hate us, we might as well not be well behaved. They're going to hate us no matter what we do. So you might as well give them a reason. And I will end it on that. Love you so much. And please take care of yourselves.